Welcome back for another deep dive. And today we're tackling something I think is pretty cool,
Oh, yeah.
electric fields. We're using this interactive simulation model
Okay.
called the Two-Charge Particle Field Lines JavaScript HTML5 Applet Simulation Model. Quite a mouthful.
It is a mouthful. But hey, it gets to the point.
Well, it comes from open source physics at Singapore, part of this whole movement of
Mhm.
open educational resources. But before we get into all that,
Okay.
could you explain what someone would actually see using this simulation?
So imagine you could actually see the force between electric charges, This simulation lets you do that. Visualize these invisible forces
Okay.
as lines, sort of like when you see iron filings around a magnet
Oh.
showing the magnetic field.
So it's like peeking behind the curtain and seeing how
Yeah, exactly.
electricity really works.
And those we call them field lines. They show you the direction
Okay.
and strength of the electric field.
Okay, got it. But why should anyone care about electric fields? Like, are they really that important in our life?
They're more important than you think.
Okay.
Think about static electricity.
Yeah.
That's all electric fields. Or how lightning works. Even electronics we use every single day. Our phones, computers, they rely on the principles.
Wow. So it's not just some abstract physics concept.
Yep.
This is fundamental to how everything around us works.
Absolutely. And that's what's really neat about this simulation.
Yeah.
It makes these concepts so much easier to understand because you get to actually see
Right.
it happening right in front of you.
And we have this cool simulation, but you mentioned earlier,
Yes.
it's just one part of a larger website, right?
It's like a portal
Oh,
to a whole network of learning resources on this.
that's one of the best things about the internet.
It is.
You start with one thing,
Yeah.
and suddenly you're down this rabbit hole of amazing information.
You go down the rabbit hole. For example, there's a link to a simulation by Andrew Duffy from Boston University, a little different approach to visualizing these electric fields. And there's another
Right.
really user-friendly one from academo.org. Perfect if you're just starting out.
It sounds like they've handpicked the best resources
Right.
and made them all available in one place. Speaking of who this is for,
Yeah.
the website uses keywords like secondary, junior college, and easy JavaScript simulation.
It's definitely geared towards a younger audience, probably high school, early college students,
Right.
Who are just beginning to learn about electricity and magnetism.
Okay.
And getting them interested in these concepts early on is so important. It can spark a lifelong passion for STEM.
It's like you're giving them a key to this whole new world of knowledge.
Exactly.
And that's what I love about this site. They go beyond just simulations, too.
They do. There's a whole section for
More into
videos.
those.
Video section.
Interesting.
One title caught my eye. Electric field lines and electric flux.
Ooh, electric flux.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty intense. Can you give us a quick explanation of what that is?
Electric flux is a measure of how much of the electric field
Okay.
is passing through a particular area. Helps us understand.
So it's like measuring the flow of an electric field.
Yeah. You can think about it like that. It's quantifying its strength
Got it.
and how it affects what's around it.
I see. So understanding electric flux is a step
Yes.
towards more complex concepts in electromagnetism.
Absolutely. Like Gauss's law.
Gauss's law.
One of the fundamental laws about electric field.
Okay. Gauss's law sounds a bit intimidating.
We won't get into the technical details right now.
Okay.
The takeaway is that this website is a stepping stone
Yeah.
to grasp those more complex concepts, but starting with the basics,
Right.
visualizing these electric fields.
So it's a gateway to this fascinating world of electromagnetism.
You could say that.
We've been talking a lot about the website itself.
Right.
Can we bring it back to the real world for a moment? Give some concrete examples of how knowledge about electric fields is applied in our daily lives.
Well, think about anything electronic.
Okay.
Phones, computers, the lights. It all works because of how electric charges
Right.
interact with those fields.
So knowing about electric fields helps us understand how our gadgets work.
Exactly. And more than that, it can lead to innovation.
Yeah.
When you understand these core ideas, you can imagine new ways to apply them.
Okay.
Maybe even invent new technologies.
But let's be honest, not everyone's going to become
Yeah.
an electrical engineer
Mhm.
or invent the next smartphone.
Right.
So why should the average person even care about this stuff?
That's a good point. But even if you don't go into a STEM field,
Yeah.
knowing these basic scientific principles helps you understand the world around you.
Okay.
It makes you a more informed citizen. You can participate in discussions about technology.
I see what you mean. It's like understanding how your car works, even if
Right.
you're not a mechanic, gives you a sense of agency
Exactly.
It helps you make better decisions.
Yeah. And with technology evolving so fast, having a basic grasp of those scientific principles is crucial.
So it's not just knowing facts, it's about developing a
Exactly.
way of thinking, a scientific literacy
Exactly.
to help us adapt to a constantly changing world.
Exactly.
That brings us back to this website and the whole idea of open educational resources.
It does.
By making this knowledge freely available, they're empowering people
Yes.
to become lifelong learners, no matter their background.
It really is a powerful thing.
It's democratizing knowledge, making it accessible to everyone.
Yes.
But before we delve deeper into the open educational resources movement,
Yeah.
why do you think they're so focused on making physics education accessible?
Singapore has been putting a lot of resources into STEM education and research.
Right.
They're really emphasizing innovation and technology.
So it makes sense they'd be leading the way in making these resources freely available,
Exactly.
especially in a field like physics, which is the foundation of so much of modern technology.
Absolutely. And it's not just Singapore, it's a global trend.
Yeah.
Organizations like the Open Education Consortium, UNESCO, they're promoting this worldwide.
It feels like a paradigm shift in how we think about knowledge
It is.
and how we access it.
It has the potential to empower
Yeah.
learners all over the world. Imagine anyone, anywhere
Yeah.
can access the tools to learn and grow.
It's a really inspiring thought.
It is.
And it all stems from this website, a simple platform
Right.
with an interactive simulation about electric fields.
Yeah.
Who knew exploring this
I know.
could lead to such a profound discussion?
That's the beauty of a deep dive. Start with something specific.
Yeah.
And it opens up to all these broader questions.
In this case, it's highlighting the potential
It is.
of open educational resources to change.
To change.
Learning global.
It's a reminder that knowledge is strongest
Yeah,
when we share it.
absolutely. But we're just scratching the surface here.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back to unpack the implications of open educational resources even further.
Sounds good.
So we talked about how this website from Open Source Physics at Singapore is a great way to learn about electric fields. They even link to stuff from Boston University.
It shows how connected everything is online.
Yeah. And they're part of this movement towards open educational resources. Can we unpack that a bit? What does it actually mean?
Open educational resources, we call them OERs, they're basically materials that are free to use, adapt, share. It's really shaking things up, especially in STEM fields.
So instead of those pricey textbooks,
Yeah.
we get these high-quality materials anyone can access.
Exactly. Removing barriers to education.
Makes things more equitable.
It does.
I can see how that's huge for students in parts of the world where
Yes.
traditional resources are hard to come by.
It's about access, but also fostering collaboration. Teachers can modify materials to
Done.
fit their needs, even create new stuff based on what's out there.
So it's active engagement building on what's already there.
Exactly. Makes the learning experience much more dynamic.
All of this sounds fantastic, but I imagine there are challenges
Of course.
with creating and maintaining these resources.
That's not a perfect system. Creating good OERs takes time, expertise, funding. Then there's keeping them up to date, making sure they're accessible long term.
It's like building a library.
Yeah.
You need the books, but also
is.
got to maintain them, organize them, make sure everyone can use them.
A great analogy. You need a whole team to manage it all.
So next time my internet's slow, I'll remember it's thanks to these people passionate about open education.
Exactly. It's something to appreciate.
It is.
It's not just individual websites. It's changing how we think about knowledge as a shared resource that benefits everyone.
That's a really optimistic view of the future of learning.
And a realistic one. We're already seeing the impact. As more people contribute,
Yeah.
the potential is huge.
It's exciting to be a part of it,
Yeah.
even just as a learner. But thinking about who this electric fields website's for.
Yes.
We mentioned high school, college students, but who else could benefit?
Anyone who's curious wants to learn how things work.
Right.
You don't have to be a physics genius. And even if you are,
Yeah.
the simulations, the videos, they provide new perspectives, deeper understanding.
Sometimes seeing things visualized differently
Yeah,
makes it click.
it does.
And let's not forget teachers.
Oh, absolutely.
These resources are gold for making lessons engaging.
It levels the playing field, gives teachers in under-resourced schools access to top-notch materials.
Like bringing the best tools to everyone, everywhere.
That's the power of it all.
So we've done the theory, the big picture impact. For our listeners inspired to dive into electric fields and online learning,
Yes.
where should they start?
The website we've been talking about is the perfect launch pad. Play with the simulations. They're intuitive, fun, even with no physics background.
Don't be afraid to explore the other links, too.
Right.
Whether you're visual or like in-depth explanations, there's something for everyone. You never know what else you might find.
It's an adventure.
To our listeners, embrace your inner scientist. Explore this world of electric fields.
You don't need to be an expert to see the beauty of science.
Well said. Before we let everyone loose with virtual charges, one last thing about electric fields. Essential for electronics, but what are some more concrete ways they affect our lives?
Oh, so many. Touch, for one. You're feeling the repulsion between electric fields of your hand and the object. That's what stops you from passing through things.
Whoa, so that's why the world feels solid.
In a way, yes. And that's just the beginning. Nerve impulses, muscle contractions, it's all electric fields.
Orchestrating everything we do.
Pretty cool, right? And it goes further. Think about weather, lightning we talked about. Even clouds forming involves charged particles in the atmosphere.
So from tiny stuff in our bodies to huge weather events.
Exactly. We haven't even mentioned medical imaging, X-rays, MRIs, or renewable energy, harnessing those fields for solar and wind power.
Mind-blowing to think how much of our world is shaped by these things we don't even see.
It shows how much more there is to reality than we realize.
Perfect way to transition to our final part, exploring the broader impact of open educational resources and how they're changing how we learn and interact with the world around us.
Yeah, it really is amazing to think about all that's going on beneath the surface, shaping our world. And to have tools like this website,
Yeah.
from open source physics at Singapore to make it all accessible, it's incredible.
Right.
Really shows the power of these open educational resources.
Like you're opening a door to a whole new world.
Right.
And anyone can step through. No barriers, just curiosity.
It's a game changer, for sure. By making knowledge free, we're empowering everyone to become lifelong learners. It's not about memorizing anymore. It's about sparking a passion for discovery.
Exactly. And that shift, that's what's so exciting. It's not just about the information.
Right.
It's about creating a culture of curiosity, collaboration.
It's about knowledge as a shared resource, something that benefits everyone.
And when you look at the challenges we face today, climate change, inequality.
We need more people who can think critically, solve problems, work together.
And OERs, these open educational resources.
Right.
They're a powerful tool for that.
They are.
Give people the knowledge, empower them to shape a better future.
It's recognizing that we all have something to offer. Unique perspectives, experiences.
Like a puzzle.
Yeah.
Each piece is a bit of knowledge or insight.
And we share those pieces.
Yeah.
The bigger picture starts to emerge.
And who knows what breakthroughs are waiting when we work together like that.
The possibilities are endless.
They really are. So as we wrap up this deep dive into electric fields and open educational resources, I want to leave our listeners with this.
Okay.
We've explored the science behind these invisible forces.
Right.
We've seen how open access can empower people and transform societies. Now it's your turn.
Yeah.
Take this knowledge, apply it to your own life.
Look around, be curious, ask questions, find the answers, connect the dots, never stop learning. The more we understand, the better equipped we are to make things better.
Well said. And on that note, we'll say goodbye for now.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring.